Hello, and welcome to Speaking with Accent, presented to you by Accent Student Media of Austin Community College. My name is Alice Wilson, and I am an editor on the Accent team, and I'm so excited to bring you this episode today. This topic is one that is very near and dear to my heart, and something that at least 50% of our listeners will be able to relate to as well, and that is the subject of periods and menstruation and sexual health. And I'm so lucky to be joined by 4 students who are part of some very impactful organizations at ACC, trying to not only decrease some of the stigma around menstruation and menstrual education, but also bring free menstrual products to our bathrooms at ACC, which is pretty exciting. So let's just dive right in. Would you all introduce yourselves and the organizations you are part of at ACC?
Hello everyone, I'm Marisela Perez. I'm a writer and the promotion director for Accent Student Media, and I'm also the former president of the Student Government Association, and I have been involved with this menstrual product project since last semester.
Hi everyone, I'm Nivedita Anandaramankala, but everyone just calls me Nivi for short. I'm a historian for Student Government Association, as well as I'm the chair for this project.
Hi, my name is Alejandra. I started the Safe and Empowering Knowledge for Sexuality Club last semester. The SEKS Club for short.
Hey everyone, I'm so thankful to be on this podcast. My name is Nyguen. I'm the vice president of Safe and Empowering for Knowledge about Sexuality. My passion lies in spreading awareness, promoting healthy discussions about sexuality. I'm so thankful to be on this podcast, and I can't wait to hear some of y'all insights.
Okay, thank you all for introducing yourselves. I'd love to hear more about the project you keep referencing. What is kind of the menstrual project vision you're trying to bring to life, and how did you all get connected with each other? Because you're from some different clubs on campus, so tell me a little bit about that.
So this project kind of came to mind around last semester in fall. That was when I just started, when I first joined SGA, and a friend of ours went like, hey, so someone I know is, wants products in the bathrooms, and we're like, hey, we kind of need this. So thankfully, I have never been more happier to have Marisela with me working through all of this, because this was a lot. We met Alejandra through our professor. She was holding an interview for, ACC. And I started talking about the Menstrual Products Project, and she was like, okay, so there's another club that I'm pretty sure would be willing to work with you. And so thankful to meet Alejandra, too. She's probably one of my closest friends in ACC.
And it was Missy Patterson. She's actually our club advisor. So that she was the person that I reached out to, or we came together to create the club.
So basically we just started as a research committee, right? We want to, this is still like a research phase. We just heard the concerns from a friend, and he said, hey, my friend told me about the need of menstrual product in the bathrooms. So we're like, okay, we can just create a committee, and when we reach out to students, see if they actually need it, what is the circumstances, does it depend on the campus, is it about closing hours? So we basically started that in December, pretty much, October last semester. And we just want to actually understand what is like the situation in Austin Community College.
Nice. Yeah. So kind of like word of mouth is how it kind of got started, and then and then you're taking it from there.
You can say it that way.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a really chaotic process how this all came together, but you can say it that way.
I mean, as student government, we are basically, right, the official voice of students. Like, our job is just to get out there and hear voice by voice what is going on, like what is happening in our campuses. So we realized that was not only like a one-time concern. It was actually something that we have heard from different timers perspective. So we thought of like, okay, we can just create a committee and focus on that. But again, as Nivy said, it was only me and her at the beginning. We were like, okay, let's just work together on this for the first time. And thankfully now we have Alejandra and her whole team. So it has been easier to get around and with Missy to understand the situation. Yeah.
What are some of the biggest barriers, I guess, to making this project a reality? You keep on mentioning, Nivy, how hard it was.
There is so when you mean barriers, you meaning what are the things that we've overcome so
I guess
far?
like from kind of conception of the project, you have a goal in mind. What are all the steps involved to actually make this a reality?
the craziest thing is that each school functions differently. So Marisela and we went to a college meeting in Blinn. It's around, I think it's an hour drive from here.
Yeah, Blinn
Our
College.
legs were cramping like really bad. Oh God, it was the worst drive on earth. I hated it. Sorry, gang, to whoever who's in Blinn. And that's when we realized that they had like this huge box of tampons and pads in their restrooms. And I ran out of the bathroom, you know, searching for Marisela. And I'm like, Marisela, they have the pads and tampons. And I couldn't find her because she was talking to someone else. And then I met another official, you know, another SGA official there. And they're like, so we just took it with our advisors and we're using our own budget to do this, which is kind of crazy. But in the end, they're only using one bathroom. Right. And it's only like 4 campuses, whereas we have 12, 11. So using it out of our budget's completely not in the cards.
Would it be in like every bathroom? Like I know even each campus, like Highland has like 1 million bathrooms. I don't even know where they all are.
That is the goal. The ultimate goal is
Every
getting them in
bathroom.
all bathrooms because not everyone who menstruates are women. And you know, we're at least just the women in the gender neutral bathrooms.
And what progress has been made so far with the project? Like I know we were talking previously and you had some trials going on or like what are the next steps, I guess?
Well, Ale, I don't know if you want to talk about it, pretty much how we started with them.
Well, when they reached out to me, like we became an official club like in December, I think. So we were pretty
baby club.
Yeah, we were pretty new, but everybody's been so nice about like helping us with the club, and there's this organization Talk About It. They're at ACC. They're Talk About It ACC. And I don't remember who told me about them, but basically they have a lot of resources and stuff for like safe sex and sex education. And I thought like maybe this is where we can collide. This is where we can all work together. And I reached out to somebody about the menstrual product project, and she was super on board. She said that she's been working to get products on ACC bathrooms as well. So I was like, okay, this is perfect then. And we all reached out, and now that's where we're at.
Nice.
Yeah. Another thing that we have to consider in this kind of like, you know, project is that the first, you know, months was just basically getting around, understanding, okay, is it accessible at ACC? What are the circumstances? And from that, we just basically talk with different people, right? So I think one of the barriers was actually have one like through or like one way to approach this project, right? Because every campus is different. And we actually visited all of them in December to understand if they're accessible or not. Like we realized that they are in student life in some campuses. Actually, San Gabriel campus, is it the one? Yeah, the ones that already have them in the bathroom, but that's something that student life manages from their budget, right? Some receive from donations from the same campus. The Elgin campus is done by the library because like the head of the library was like, hey, this is something that the student needs, so I'm gonna put it because I want to lead this project, and I'm gonna put it in the only one bathroom, right, near the library in the Elgin campus. So that was, I think, our first like challenge to understand the situation in so many different campuses. Apart from that, to talk with so many people, get different responses from all of them, the budget, because again, we are just a student organization. Our job is just to do the research and present it to the administration. So hopefully they address the situation, right? But I think it's just a small team trying to understand a very complex circumstances. Yeah.
So it's not like you can go to one kind of board of directors at ACC and
Yeah,
say like
no,
every campus is going to have
literally.
this plan. No.
Every person that you talk to is going to have different information, basically.
Marisela and I, the whole semester, we were just talking and attending meetings and talking and meeting other people and talking. It was a lot of yapping. A lot of it.
Just like trying to get information. So so you guys are trying to do this at Highland specifically, or you are actually doing the work to kind of try and get it in all of the campuses?
So right now it's both. We want to host a trial, which will be happening in both Highland as well as in Rio Grande, because we want to like figure out what is the kind of census that we're looking at. For example, Highland is more populated, like one of the most populated campuses.
More students.
And Rio Grande, not that much out of all the ACC campuses. So that's why we're aiming at both Highland and Rio Grande. But that's just for our research trial and to get like results out so we can give it to the people who can fund us.
And are you like seeing how many students are using them? Is that kind of the results you're looking for? Like
the
how
feedback
popular the project is?
Yeah, and I think with Alejandra is actually something that she brought and that we didn't consider, which is period poverty, right? Like that's in Corsantes, and we're like, we thought pretty much at the beginning it's accessible because campus hour closes at 5. Like in regards to like the student care center, student life, like in one opportunity doing tabling, I talked with this student. She was like, yeah, actually, I knew the student care center had menstrual product and had an emergency, but they were closed. So I had just to use, toilet paper, figure it out. So that was our main focus. But then with Alejandra, she was like, okay, we can also understand for period poverty and how is that synchronized and ACC. Yeah.
Alejandra, would you mind like telling us what is period poverty exactly? I feel like it's a term that's kind of thrown around, and I don't know if everyone actually understands what it is. So would you just break it down for us?
I think that people, when you hear period poverty, I think it almost sounds pretty self-explanatory, but I do think that sometimes people don't really understand everything that goes to it. So basically, like period poverty, it becomes harder to have access to menstrual products. Maybe you don't have the education for the menstrual products. Maybe like it's just you do not have the products, period. And it's not like it's something that you don't have to have because people that menstruate need something.
Right.
So
it's kind of an economic barrier.
Yeah, and it's very impactful in a lot of ways for a lot of people. I ran some very rough numbers, but if we're looking at ACC, there would be at least 2,400 students, very rough estimate, who are suffering or are struggling with period poverty. And I think that's a really big number. And especially considering that this is school, that you're at a higher education and you're struggling with this, and it's already hard enough to struggle as a student. And I think a lot of times when people are at community college, it might be because it's more accessible, but it's not accessible to people that are struggling with period poverty to come to campus, and they won't have the products that they need that are necessary available for them.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Like, students shouldn't have to be at a certain economic status to have access to just, I think, like basic healthcare needs, which is, period products. And, when you look at all of the harmful effects that can happen for those who experience period poverty, like keeping tampons in for longer, or like, using toilet paper or using old pads, or like, I don't know, just people shouldn't, especially at a college that provides, groceries, childcare, free transportation, counseling at no cost to the students, which is tremendous. Like, ACC is a really, really great school for that. So I feel like, why is it even a question that period products wouldn't be available to us?
Absolutely. For sure.
I also wanted to stress something about the topic of what you guys were saying. Like the period poverty itself can also lead to adverse health outcomes. Yeah. Including infections and reproductive health issues that obviously no one wants to miss school for, and just like the inability to manage menstruation effectively. And so it disproportionately affects marginalized communities, exacerbating existing inequalities related to gender, socioeconomic status, and access to healthcare. And I think it's a super big issue that we should be really heavily focused on being at a community college, just because it's such a diverse population. And so
absolutely. Honestly, I never even knew about this. The fact that you can get infections, unless my mom told me about it.
Yeah, like toxic shock syndrome.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
or even like UTIs, which I think are very common.
Exactly. And even like people who've never had someone to tell them, go like, hey, this is a possibility, they won't know about it either. So we should, one of the main things other than, getting products on campus is educating people about menstruation and periods. I mean, like, that's a complete necessity. What would you do with products if you don't know what to do with them?
Yeah.
I totally agree. Even like growing up, like, I don't know, we just didn't talk about getting, like, in my family, it was like something that happened and then it was never like a conversation. I remember I was like shopping with my sister once she had gotten her period before me, and we were in the grocery store, and I was so excited that she had gotten her period. I was like dying, like, oh my God, we're gonna buy tampons, like this is a moment. And she was like, she was so embarrassed, and that I had said that out loud, like, oh, where are the tampons? She's like she looked at me like, with embarrassment. And I think from that moment, there's like a moment when you're like, oh, this isn't something we talk about.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I love that your club is kind of addressing issues like that, Alejandra. I know you just had like that sexication event, just talking about like, I don't know if that was really menstrual health or if that was just sexual health in general.
It was
but
mostly sexual health, and Talk About It was also there for that, because they have a lot of resources. We were tabling at this event because we do want to get more students involved with the club, especially when it comes to things like this, right? Because this is like, okay, we have 4 students here that are trying to get this project passed, okay? But if we had the whole SEKS club, everybody that is in any way interacting with SGA, even people that are just listening, like if everybody could get together, it's a lot more impactful to have multiple people than just, okay, here's 4 students presenting this idea to you.
For sure. What was the turnout like at that event? Or like, what did you find that, did you hear any feedback about what students were thinking about it?
No, actually that event was completely unrelated to this. But they did have a good amount of people. That actually was an event led by Ascender. So we've been working with Ascender, trying to like see what we could do to get the club bigger. And like I said, everybody's been very supportive of the club. But I think like just having a lot of more people being involved with this, and a lot more people being open and accepting that this is something that is a necessity. Because I think the other part of it that becomes the part that is why it's so taboo, and it's like, your sister was embarrassed, is because we don't talk about it. So that's what needs to change, that we need to talk about it. Because like me too, when I first got my period, I didn't know what it was, first of all. I didn't know what it was, and I thought that I was just being dirty. And that's like, I think I got mine pretty young, so I think, I attribute it to that too. But I thought that I was just like really dirty, and I would just call my mom to the restroom, and I'd be like, hey, I need underwear. Can you bring one? And she would, and no questions asked. For 3 days, and then she finally did, and she was very like nice about it, and she was very excited, and it was like a really good moment. But like from then, I was just embarrassed. Like I never wanted to talk about like my period. I remember my brother asking, he was younger than me, and I remember him asking why we were buying these products. We were buying pads, and he was like, what is that? And we couldn't say anything. And that's part of the problem. That's also part of the problem. Like that's the reason that we can't have these, or we don't have these products fully available on campus.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so the thing is, even in India, so I spent most of my childhood in India. And you've always had to hide your pads. If you're taking it out, you have to like stuff it in your jacket before anyone can see it, especially if they're a guy. You're automatically ridiculed if you have them out. And, you know, it's just something that's shameful, whereas we're supposed to be embracing it. I mean, girl, another month of not being pregnant. I don't think there's anything else that you can be proud of. I mean, sure, 7 days of pure agony, cramps, and lots of chocolate. But, you know, it's something that you're supposed to be celebrating, and it's womanhood. And I know this is the thing with the past generations, but now even like my friends, they're educating their brothers on it, which I find is like the most amazing thing ever. I do that with my cousin, and I'm the only child, so no brothers here. But definitely education, telling everyone about it, destigmatizing it, it's also important factors.
Yeah. Also, when I was telling my mom about this, because I've been like updating her about the like menstrual products and stuff, my mom and my grandma were the people that raised me. And I think especially with my grandma, it was something you just don't talk about. And I think I couldn't talk about it either until now that I know the words and the language to use, especially since they speak Spanish. There's some things that I know about period poverty. How do I explain this to them in Spanish? I know about like menstrual products. I know about all these symptoms and cramps and whatever that I'm feeling. But I could never I could never communicate that in Spanish until now. And I think that's also pretty major. Like that's something that you should be able to have, but a lot of people don't have the education or the access to education, and they're like, that's period poverty.
I didn't even think about period poverty being not only like, it's not only an economic thing, but it's literally like lacking the information you need to be able to talk about your own sexual or reproductive health. I don't know, that like hit different when you said that for me. I'd love to bring it back to talking about why is it so important to have these products in the bathrooms, even though they are at student life? Because I feel like if there's going to be pushback, it could be like, well, you know, they have them for free, just not in the bathrooms. You just have to walk down the hall. But why do you think it's so important?
Well, I feel the biggest problem is ACC, they're open from around 8 a.m. to 11. Student life's only open till like 8:30 to 5.
I feel like student life's always closed. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
Well, I might be wrong with the timings, but
no,
it's again, you know, late classes, and most of the people, well, they come for late classes because they have jobs.
Yes. And
it's not like we can go, oh my God, okay, so the school's going to be closing in 30 minutes. I better get my period before the 30 minutes ends, or else I won't be having access to pads. You know, it's something that is absolutely necessary. And it's literally, it's toilet paper for us. We need it. It's not sanitary napkins. It's in the name. So I feel that's one of the biggest things about why do we need it on campus, even though it's already there in student life. Plus, some people don't even know that it's in student life or it's in the student care center. Campus management has it. No one knows about it. Yeah. I called them up, and a couple of them didn't even know it was on their campus.
So, like the actual...
the people that I called up, they didn't even know it was on campus.
I mean, I had no idea. There's no posters in the bathrooms. Yeah, there's no nothing. Like, until you guys kind of brought this project up, I fortunately had never, you know, I've always got my little tampon stash in my backpack, but like, you would have no idea.
No, and not only that, like, considering Highland is huge, so you have an emergency. Are you telling me you're gonna run to Student Life or Student Care Center to address the situation? Or you're gonna get stuck
4,000? No.
In the bathroom, dealing with the ultrasound. And imagine if you have a class. Imagine if you have to actually come back to home to solve the issues. Like, a lot of circumstances that it would be a meaningful support for students. And is, as we said, it's already there. It's about the location that will make it actually very helpful and a solution for a lot of students.
Yeah, actually last semester, I was in class and I had started to feel like awful cramps, I was like, I know that it's coming and I'm not prepared. And I was in class with Dylan, and I was like, Dylan, like, I might need you to go get me some stuff, because I didn't have anything. And, you know, Dylan, like, he probably didn't have anything either, like, on him. But I was like, please, like, I need you to go find, like, a pad or a tampon that I could use.
Yeah.
I think.
Would you like to add anything, Dylan?
Oh, no, for sure. I do remember that account, and it was pretty surreal for like my own friend was like having these issues. I guess like for me, who's grown up as a man, I've always distanced myself from menstruation because it's something that I've never really found inclined to learn, just because it's something that doesn't happen to me. But we should be aware about it because it is a human condition and is a natural thing that people have to go through. And I think also not only that, like what you guys were saying about how you guys would want it in more bathrooms, but it would just be kind of what's the word?
Destigmatized.
Yeah, exactly. It would just normalize having those products in the bathroom for anyone to use it at any time they want to, I guess. And it just sends a message that like menstruation is nothing to be ashamed of, and that it needs to be your feelings and emotions are valid and worthy, and that's all it has to be said and done.
Yeah.
I love the perspective of, you know, growing up as a male, and then, you know, it's never really something you've had to think about even, which, you know, totally makes sense. and I guess I'm glad you're here to bring that perspective.
If I want to have, I guess, like children of my own one day, I'm gonna have to realize and learn about these certain things. It's also kind of funny. I also really just for some reason want girls for some reason, but I don't know. I feel like awesome. I'd be a good dad, and it's just like it'll be something that I can keep learning about and just keep advocating for students at ACC as well.
Yeah, I also think that it is important for people that do not menstruate, like, to be aware and to. I think it's important to carry the products that your peers may need, because, like, Dylan was the only person that I could ask, and obviously he wasn't carrying anything with him. But it would have been different if he was. I wouldn't have to be waiting in the restroom for him to come, and ideally, like, I would have had my stuff with me. But like, I think it's also the fact that a lot of people have irregular periods.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I was going through like some like hormonal stuff where my periods were irregular at this point. So I was fully not prepared for it. And, you know, that was my only option, was to ask my friend. But, you know, he did help me, and he went to go find whatever he could find wherever he could find it. But ideally, like, everybody could just have these products on hand.
Yeah. I mean, even I think the main thing is just, you know, to have them as for an emergency, right? Because you can also just share the information. Hey, if you need more, you can always go to Student Care Center, to Student Life, or even depending on your campus, right? Because it depends. But at least to have them for emergencies, like, hey, I have a support there for, you know, unexpected moments. I think that would just make a huge difference. You know?
I agree. Even with the amount of students who might feel, you know, that stigma or that shame, which we're trying to, you know, tackle here. But I think a lot of students would probably rather just go home and miss school rather than have to go to Student Life and ask a student they don't even know and be like, you know, can you help me out here? Like, I hope I would be, you know, have the courage, but it takes courage. It takes a certain level of vulnerability, especially if you're someone who's been impacted with like period poverty and you can't afford these products. There's a certain level not only of like, oh, I don't have this, but like, oh, I can't afford this. Like, you have to definitely, it takes courage. And I think it's not having them available in the stalls is like, it's like a double vulnerability, because it's like, not only do they have to then search around their campus to find one, and I'm sorry, but Highland is a maze. But it's like the problem, the power's been taken out of their own hands to solve their own problem. It's like all of a sudden this thing becomes an issue. It becomes an ordeal, and it becomes something that they can't take care of themselves. And it isn't something that should cause disruption in our everyday lives. And it becomes a major inconvenience when that isn't available.
Yeah.
Plus, it's like you said, like the menstrual cycle itself can be like unpredictable, and like having menstrual products already available in restrooms ensures that like people are prepared for unexpected periods and reducing anxiety and discomfort in those certain situations. I know if I was a woman, I wouldn't want to feel that, obviously, and I would want those products to be in the restroom. That's just me, because I don't know. I would.
We're with ya.
Like, it's kind of stupid. Like, I mean, like you'd think that they have, I guess, like the accommodations and certain resources to help students and just people in general, but it's not really that way from how we see it.
Yeah. Honestly, yelling from the bathroom stall is a good method.
It is. Yeah, it works.
But I would pretty much like to have them, outside. So it's just right there. Mm-hmm. And then again, that might just be me. Maybe you guys like yelling at the stalls.
I don't think you're alone in that.
Yeah. And again, I don't think it's like, ACC doesn't want to help their students. I think it's more like, they're not aware of the situation yet. And that's understandable. Like, it's a huge, like, campus, and as we say, everyone is different. But what I say is, like, what we learn from going to each campus and realizing, they manage here differently. They have funds, they have donations. Like, people care about it. People want to make it accessible. It's just, finding a way to unify the effort and to put it in ways that will actually provide a solution. So I think that's what we want in the long run. Like, even if we don't make it like in the short run, at least we are putting, like, the word out there. Like, here are the results. Here's our trial run. Here's what students say. This is what they need. And that's what we want to do and what we can do at most. But just spreading the word is at least making a difference among student life, because they want to support the students.
It's not just, the people that they don't know about it. It's the fact that no one's ever brought it up before, which is kind of crazy, because Austin Community College is such an old establishment. But the only reason why we have the Student Care Center, the reason why we have Student Life, is because someone brought it up. Mm-hmm. And this right now is students bringing it up. So we're hoping this will, cause a bit more noise than, an employee bringing it up. Mm-hmm. And, rattle the cages, go like, hey, we need this.
And again, if we make it accessible for students, we also make it accessible for staff and faculty, Because so it's like,
absolutely.
Who are there.
Yeah. So it's like it can help a lot of people.
I also think we have ACC, at least Highland, I don't know about the other campuses, but there's a lot of students from like high schools that come visit, or just people that come visit in general, and they won't have access to the student life or the student centers, like if they don't have like student IDs. So we can't just have we can't say that everything's accessible here at student life or here at student center when it's not accessible for everybody that goes. Sometimes people, I didn't have this here, but when people do orientation, you don't have your ID yet. Or when you come to tour, you don't have an ID. And if you have an emergency at this point where you need menstrual products on hand, just having them there in the restroom would, like, I feel like it would sell the school to me. Yeah. And like, you know what? This is it.
This is a nice really bathroom. Supportive of the people. Yeah.
Sure.
I feel like that's going even beyond the student body, and just to like in general, like what do you think an ideal world would look like? Like with in regards to this, like, okay, so I was reading and there's a luxury tax that is put on menstrual products, and I had no idea that these even were taxed, like alcohol or cigarettes, or like, I just thought that was so shocking. So if you guys could, rule the world, what do you think it would look like?
Free products.
Just free products.
Free products.
Literally.
Free.
I agree.
Contraceptives. Like, girl, I'm not getting pregnant. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It should be there. Free products, definitely. Women rule the world. Girlhood.
I love that. And yes, with the free contraception, and even, I don't know, maybe your club, Alejandra, will have like, did you guys bring up contraception at all in the sex education event? Or like, how can, I guess, students get involved in your club or like learn more about it?
Well,
or like what is something that if I wanted to be a part of this club, like, do you guys have weekly meetings or just events that you're running right now? I know it's a baby club.
Yeah.
I kind of spring this on you.
Yeah.
But.
No, that's okay. Well, we're planning some meetings. We just had our first meeting last week. Marisela was there. But we're planning a lot of meetings. I'm hoping my hope for the club is that we can hear people out, right? Mm-hmm. So I want to know students that want to talk about, I don't know, say like if we want to talk about safe sex for the entire time that we're in the club, fine, we can do that. If we want to talk about pleasure, because that's also important, we can do that. If we want to talk about anatomy, that's fine. But I just want it to be as inclusive as possible too, because I do think we're biased in the club because everybody that is an officer right now is just cisgendered. We have 2 straight, men.
That's so true.
Yeah, officers, and
talking smack about me.
While there's nothing wrong with that, like we are, like it does kind of lean one way than it does. I really want it to be inclusive for everybody. So, I'm trying to work with I'm trying to hear everybody out because I do want everybody to be able to be a part of it and get something positive out of this. Because like when Missy reached out to me about about this project, I was like, this is perfect. This is, we're just starting out, and this is part of sex education. This is sex education. And if I can help people out just in my little club, like that would be ideal. But if we can help literally everybody else, that's perfect. So like with Dylan too, right? Like being like, hey Dylan, do you have anything? Like I didn't expect him to have any products with him, but that's like a seed.
Next time I will.
But exactly, that's the point. Is that ideally the next time that somebody's in a pinch, he's available to help. And that's what I want with anybody that could get involved in this. Obviously because period poverty, it's not accessible for everybody, but for the people that it is accessible for, we could get everything that we all of the resources we could have on hand.
Just going on top of what you were saying as well, I thought like my original purpose was to like spread awareness, but I also just wanted to make the things fun. It doesn't always have to be I guess speaker panels and discussions. Like I want things to be interactive. I want the only way to get people talking is to have things interactive and mm-hmm. people to move around. And so not only do we want like certain panels and discussions, but we also want events where we can have expression, where people can learn about themselves through, I guess, like art, music, and just like, I guess, like things that we just want things to be really interactive, and we want people to be talking, but not only talking, but also just, just knowing that it's out there, and it's also just a safe space that you can just not only talk about, like, not just talk about sex too, we can talk about relationships. Mm-hmm. Remember, someone brought up physical abuse in relationships, yeah. And mm-hmm. We can talk about a lot, and also men's mental health, because it's only 1 month designated for us men, but I feel like all of those topics do centralize over one thing, and that's just the spectrum of sexuality itself.
How can students find more about your club?
Well, we are, if you go to the student MySL portal and you type in the search bar SEKS, mm-hmm. we will show up. Or you can type in the entire name, Safe and Empowering Knowledge for Sexuality.
We have a group me. We're about to get a Gmail. We also just got a Discord. And so we're still, I guess, figuring out which platform we want to centralize on being on. But for the time being, I think we're still a baby club. We're just trying to figure things out. We want to have fun events, but at the same time, we're also trying to prioritize our school and our health as well. So, but other than that, it's it's been such a ride, and I've been enjoying every single moment of it. So
amazing. Yeah, I really admire what you guys are doing, being part of such like big projects, big organizations while being a student. Like, how is that?
It can be a lot.
A lot?
Definitely a lot.
At one point, my mom's just like, girl, quit. You can't do this anymore. Quit. And I'm like, we're reaching somewhere. We're going somewhere. And this is something that I'm really passionate about. And, you know, I have two of my best friends working with me.
Right.
No, but I think student organizations are really fun. Like, you can learn so much about even yourself just by getting out there, meeting new people. It can be a lot if you're like, you know, very, very involved and also full time.
Yeah.
But if you manage, I think at least one semester, I think will be worth it to try.
Yeah. I also think being part of a club, to me, makes me want to do good in school.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh,
yeah,
like I have a legacy. Like, I'm trying to do good.
Yeah.
I like to call myself an extroverted person, and I love meeting new people. And being part of SGA has honestly opened so many doors. We go to so many meetings. I meet the most amazing people. It's just, it kind of outweighs the bad, if you could say it that way.
Okay, yeah. The stress is outweighed by all the
Yeah.
benefits you get from it.
Yeah.
Oh no, for sure, and then it also just gives me like a sense of purpose too. Like not only do I like to like just go to school, get good grades, have good recommendations, look good. It also just makes me feel like I want to, I don't know, advocate and help other people who are not in my situation, or just in general, just giving them more education. Or it's like also like Marisela said, like just getting to know someone else that's not really in your background. I've definitely become a lot more open-minded, not only just going to ACC and talking to different people, but also just, I have been more accustomed to it. And I really enjoy it though, because it gives me a perspective not only from my own, but I get to see things from a different focal lens and really evaluate what we are really doing, I guess.
Yeah, especially ACC, where it's so hard to find a community or like to find, you
Yeah, I
know,
agree.
friends.
Yeah.
I think everyone, you might assume everyone's just going to class, whatever, just you see in the halls. So it's really hard to find that space. And I think when you join an organization, it's so easy to start,
Sure.
you know, oh, I love going to ACC. I'm learning so much because you have a group of support there, and you're doing great stuff and you're having fun.
Mm-hmm.
So that actually helps you in the way in your major. It's just not only boring classes, but it's like, oh, I'm having a purpose here. Yeah.
That's the same
It's almost like
conversation I have.
sorry about that. It's almost like a serotonin boost though. It's like whenever like that one time I saw Nivi in the hallway outside of my human sexuality class, I was like, oh shoot, it's Nivi. Like, holy cow. Like I don't really see people I know that often, but it's always like if I know someone, I'm gonna say their name and say hi to them. So
Makes you feel part of something.
oh no, for sure, yeah.
That's the same conversation I had with my mom, actually. You know, whenever you're part of an organization and you're working towards a common goal, you just tend to be more closer to them than people that you're in your class. Whereas, I mean, sure, you can trauma bond over people in your class, but it's not the same as, you know, meeting people on your own terms. And, you know, countless coffees, going out. There's so many things you can do with people you just meet in organizations compared to people you meet in classes.
If you really think about it too, we're really putting the community in community college. So
There you go.
like I don't know. I think if we want to grow and grow as a society, or not just a society, but maybe as a person, you would have to learn from other people you don't really talk to or really know. I always used to have like micro conversations with people I didn't really know or wouldn't really like talk to, just because I wanted to just talk to them and see what they were as a person. And I just think that having those little chats definitely helps me just be more, I don't know, I guess like more open-minded. I used to, I guess like having to have also like, well, going back to saying like I was as a man, but also as a straight Asian male, like the kind of stuff we talk about is very taboo. It's very secretive. We don't really talk about it, and if we do, it's very it's like a myth. They kind of just throw it away and toss it away. And so for me to be able to just, I am also just educating myself, being in the club and being here as well. And so just being able to just take in so many information from not only Alejandra but everyone else is just it's definitely very nourishing for me, and I like it a lot.
I agree. With what all of you guys are saying, it's sometimes, you know, you're in class with someone for a semester and you have like little conversations with them, and then you never
see
speak to
them
again.
Yeah.
You never see them again. And just what you're doing, I think, shows what an impact students actually can have.
Totally.
With, like, it must have been kind of a bit overwhelming at first taking on this project, but like I feel like you already have gone so far. And
the thing is, people always think community college is just, a small stepping stone, but they don't understand is that it's such a big part of your life. These are people that I will never forget. These are journeys that I will cherish to the end of my life.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry.
And I don't think people really understand that. So,
yeah. I think like the main difference, right, of like, okay, you assume university is gonna be this great experience of meeting new people. So when you go to college, it's like, oh, I already know it's not gonna be the same. But it doesn't have to be like that. It really, you can actually find the same kind of resources and opportunities that we do in a four-year university. You just have to get up there, ask around, be involved. And I think especially with this project, I have learned so much about ACC. Like for me, it was crazy to go to all the campuses and see the difference. Like that Riverside has like 4 buildings, that LG campus is just 1 building, right? It's like you see how different the community is depending on the campus, and that gives you perspective. And especially in student government, where our main goal is to get to know our students, our community. That's something that you actually need to do, to get out there, be in person to see how the students get around in these campuses and what they need. And not only that, like these same students can be involved with HCA. Like they can just literally go to these meetings and like, hey, I noticed this in my campus. We don't have a cafeteria. Why? Or like, okay, let's just talk about your campus manager and see what's going on.
Right, you have options. You
Totally,
can find something that isn't exactly how, if you think there's something you could do to make it better, and bring that up, and then it can go somewhere. Yeah,
it's like, it's not only a space for you just to go to your classes. It can be a space where you can make something meaningful and make a difference. And it's like it's not that boring anymore. It's like, okay, I like it here. It's great. I'm learning.
I love that.
And to piggyback on that, I think obviously I have yet to go to a university, but I was at Lone Star before I was here, and I love community college because it is like the main thing that we're trying to do here with the menstrual products is make them accessible, and community college is so accessible. Like you had said earlier, we have groceries, we have all these other things that we could take advantage of, and a lot of the times I think people don't know, right? I didn't know that about the groceries until I think Nivi showed me it.
And Alejandra didn't even know that like you could go into the accelerator last semester.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was, and it's huge. It's right there.
Yeah.
But I like that. That's why I think it's very important to be involved, and that's why like this project for me is like, well, we have to do this because everything else, like everything should be setting you up for success at community college, because that's the point. It's supposed to be accessible, and not having the products will not make it accessible.
Yeah. You definitely got to maximize your experience at a community college. As an avid watcher for my favorite show, Community, like it like that show obviously it doesn't really give a good picture of what ACC is really like, but it still paints a picture of like how open and free the environment really is. You can there's resources, a ton of resources that ACC gives off, and not only that, like if you just, it's kind of like what you guys were saying, if you just if you maximize your experience, your own experience with college by going to classes, joining clubs, it becomes a lot more fun and things become a lot more easier. Like it's that's really the gist.
Right, you think it's going to take a lot more time and energy, but then it actually energizes you to to take on the rest of your classes and things.
Plus, like when you get like around and then you know the faculty of student life and you talk with them and it's like, oh, this is where I can be and these people know me. It's like, it's just different. Like it feels like a place where you can actually feel welcomed. It could be really hard at the beginning, especially when you see everything very solitary and lonely. Mm-hmm. But once you start getting involved, and I think just make a difference in how you feel about yourself and what you're doing with your life. Yeah.
How can the student body at ACC, is there anything that, say there's, to the random student listening to this and they're like, oh, I want to help make this happen, what can they do?
Okay, so that's a very good question. Somewhere around the semester, hopefully in March, we will be launching our research trial, which will be helping with our data to get ACC to fund free menstrual products across all campuses and all bathrooms. We'll be conducting surveys during the project and after the run. So, gang, tell everyone about it. Do the survey. I know we hate surveys because I take a picture and I delete the picture like a minute later. Go like, yay, guys, I did do it. Don't worry. But get the survey done. Make people listen to you. Your voice is so important. And I don't think people realize that, especially in a community college. They go like, oh my God, there's so many people. Someone else can do it for me. No, your voice is unique. Your voice is you. We need to hear your voice.
Where can people find the survey you're talking? Or is it going to be sent out to all students?
It's going to be
just
available once we start the trial run in the bathrooms per se.
Available in the bathrooms?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so like if you see the product right there, you're going to see the QR code. You have to scan it, fill it out, and you spread the word. And if you're a student and you're like, hey, I want to have some opinions, I have some concerns, HGA meets every first Friday from 3 to 5 at Highland. You can literally just go to a meeting, talk about what you would like to see around, and, be involved in that way as well.
There's always student life. Those guys, they love us. Just ask them about SGA. They'll point you in our direction because we love meeting new people. And I would say we're a really friendly group too.
So far, can attest to that. Is there anything else anyone would like to add before I kind of round off the episode here that we didn't touch on or that you'd like to get the word out about?
We heard actually from somebody who is kind of involved that he gave this piece of advice to us as the only thing that he could give us at this point, but he said that your mentality on things will be what makes things happen. So if we're thinking, okay, this menstrual project is too hard, it's not gonna happen, that's gonna be a little toxic for us. But if we think, no, we're gonna make it happen, and I think we will, we're gonna see it.
We also have to celebrate our little achievements too. Like, we became a club, we are here now. We have to see before we see the bigger picture, we also do have to acknowledge the little things that we have done, and I'm proud of what we've accomplished so far.
And also, like, Accent for creating this podcast, like,
allowing to more students for having us. This means so much for us because in the end, it was only just word of mouth, me talking to my classmates and going like, "Hey, tell everyone else." But here, you've given us such a huge platform, and we're so thankful.
Thank you, guys. I mean, I want to thank you all for coming to speak with me today, and for all of the work you're doing to improve the lives and college experience of everyone at ACC. I'm sure it takes a lot of courage and vulnerability and stress management to get here to where you are. And it's been great having you on. I would love to finish this episode by sharing 2 of ACC's core values that I found on their website. So the Austin Community College District supports student success and equity, in which all students have equal opportunity and support to achieve their academic goals, as well as the creation and maintenance of a sustainable, safe, and healthy environment for students and employees. And I think that, especially after our conversation today, providing basic healthcare needs, which period products falls into, are completely aligned with these values. And I really hope that, given the opportunity and the student support that you guys are all providing, and that students listening to this can provide, the ACC will be able to make that change. So
we'll see it happen.
Thank you, guys.
It will happen.
Thank you, Alice.
This was really nice.